The top part up here, the part that's widest on the heart, is actually called the base. And the part that's narrower, that's pointy, that's the apex. So it's like it's an upside down pyramid. So we have the base of the pyramid is the wider part, and the apex is the very top. Okay. These two guys here, these are called the oracles. Not oracle like the thing that, you know, gives you visions or whatever, tells you the future, knows everything, right? Or does really creepy dances, like naked practically. This is oracle. It's A-U-R-I-C-L-E, not O-R. Okay. And then there's a right oracle and a left oracle, and these guys are actually sitting on top of the atria. So normally if I pin these guys, I will either ask what structure is this, and you'll tell me it's an oracle, or I'll ask you what chamber is this, and you'll tell me it's an atria. Okay, so these guys are sitting right on the atria. This guy here, okay, so there's two vessels right here on the front of this heart. There's one right here, it's number 45, and then there's one here that's number 48. Okay. These are our two coronary arteries. Okay. So the one right here, 48, that's the left coronary artery. And the one over here is the right coronary artery. And then eventually it becomes circumflex, but I don't ever ask you circumflex, so that's fine. Okay. And then this one right in the middle here, this is the one with the really long name. It's like my favorite one because it's a really long, heinous name. It's the left it's the anterior interventricular branch of the left coronary artery. Yeah, anterior interventricular branch of the left coronary artery. And I like to ask it because it's so long. Okay? You can shake your head, that's fine.
And we have to abbreviate that?
No. Okay. Anterior interventricular branch of the left coronary artery. So if you remember, this is the front of the heart. So this is the anterior side. And this artery is actually running in this structure called the interventricular sulcus, or this sulcus, this depression in between the two ventricles. So down here, this is actually left ventricle over here, or sorry, right ventricle over here. This is left ventricle, and this interventricular artery here is running right between them. So it's the anterior interventricular branch of left coronary artery. Okay? And it's sitting in the interventricular sulcus. It's like a new one. It's actually a new one we added. No, they thought it was important. Okay. Let's see. All right, if we open this guy up, I'm going to open this. Here we have, if you can notice, right, here's our two atria, here's the ventricles. The left side has a much thicker wall. So here's the thicker wall of the left ventricle. So we can always use that to figure out what side we're looking on. And yes, I do like to flip hearts around so it makes the chambers switched, because I want to know that you know that the left side has much thicker walls. So pay attention. Every time you look at a heart, look for the thicker walls on the left side and then move it when you're taking a test so that it's actually on the left so that you know what you're looking at. Okay. So here we have right atria. And so this valve right here, what would this be? Tricuspid valve. This chamber? Right ventricle. What are these stringy things? Chordae tendineae. And this little muscle right here? It's papillary muscle. Papillary muscle. Okay. From the left ventricle, where does blood go? Or sorry, from the right ventricle, where does blood go? Pulmonary valve into the pulmonary trunk, right? So this guy was like this. So if I flip this, here's the right side, right? It's got a thinner wall. Here's a valve right in there. So that's the pulmonary valve. And so this vessel right here is pulmonary trunk. Okay. So if we flip this back, pulmonary trunk is actually the most anterior thing coming off of the heart. Okay. Pulmonary trunk. from pulmonary trunk, it splits into right and left pulmonary arteries. So if I turn this guy around, here's pulmonary trunk here. Right here and right here, these blue guys, these are our pulmonary arteries. Pulmonary arteries. And then blood goes to the lungs, where it gets oxygenated, and then where does it go? After the lungs. Yeah, it's the little ones that go behind. And they're going to the heart, so what kind of vessel are they? Are they arteries or veins? Veins. They're veins, and they're coming from lungs, so what do you think? Pulmonary veins, yeah. So the pulmonary veins are these ones here, and these ones right here. So there's pulmonary veins right there. And if we look inside on this model, on this left atria, there's 4 black circles in there. That's where those pulmonary veins are entering the chamber. So this is left atria. And then what valve is this? Bicuspid valve. This is
left ventricle.
Left ventricle. What valve is that?
The
aortic valve. So this is the
aorta.
Aorta. Okay. So I taught you these 3, but actually there's one branch, there's one artery that comes off of the aorta before we get to brachiocephalic trunk. Okay. The first branch off of the aorta is the coronary arteries. So this is the very first branch off the aorta. So this one, this is right coronary artery, left coronary artery. So make sure you make note of that these coronary arteries are the first branch off the aorta. If I ask, what's the first branch off the aortic arch? The aortic arch is the part that actually curves here. So that would be brachiocephalic trunk. But if I ask what's the first branch off the aorta as it comes out of the heart, that's coronary arteries. Make sense? Okay. So we have our coronary arteries, and then we have the ascending aorta going up. We have aortic arch, and then we get descending aorta. What's this guy? Brachiocephalic trunk. Left common carotid, and left subclavian. Okay, so then blood goes out to the body, it delivers oxygen to the body, so it's now deoxygenated. Then where does it go when it's coming back from the body? Goes through inferior vena cava, which is back here, and then also superior vena cava, which is this one right here. So if you know the order, let's make sure we know the order of these guys coming off of the heart here. So the very anterior one is pulmonary trunk, then it's aorta, and then it's superior vena cava. So what's this one?
Pulmonary trunk.
Pulmonary trunk, aorta, superior vena cava. What's this? Brachiocephalic trunk,
left carotid,
left common carotid, left subclavian. What are these guys? Pulmonary, they're veins. They're pulmonary veins. So remember, most of the time the arteries on here are going to be red, right? Except for these guys. Okay. So usually arteries are oxygenated, and we color oxygenated things red in circulation. And usually veins are deoxygenated, and deoxygenated things are blue. But the only time it's different is the pulmonary circulation, because we're going to and from the lungs, and so they're different. Okay, so what's this chamber?
right
Atria,
tricuspid valve, right ventricle,
right ventricle, to the
pulmonary artery,
pulmonary valve, to the trunk to the, where's it going? To the pulmonary veins, to
lungs,
the lungs, where what happens? Blood gets oxygenated. From the lungs, we go to pulmonary veins, to the left atria, through the bicuspid valve, to the left ventricle, through the aortic valve, into the aorta, to where in general?
the body,
To the body. From the body, where do we go? After we've been in the body, where does blood go? Inferior and superior vena cava, to the right atria, tricuspid valve, to the right ventricle, to the pulmonary valve, to the pulmonary trunk, to the pulmonary arteries, to the lungs, where what happens? Oxygenated. Then we go where? Right and left pulmonary veins, to the
left atria,
through the
bicuspid
bicuspid valve, to the
left
left ventricle, through aortic valve, to the aorta, to the body. Okay. So I think I told you guys on Monday, right, that a big question or big type of question we're going to ask is, where is blood going to next? Or where did blood just come from? Or what valve will it go through next? Or is it oxygenated, deoxygenated? So being able to run through the whole circulation through the heart is really important. And usually my extra credit on exams for 224, I usually write out like a whole pathway of blood through an organ or through the heart, and then I erase blanks, and then you have to fill them in. So knowing the circulation is really important. So we will go through it again, because it gets it into your head, and then you're like, I hate this, but I do it over and over and over again. So let's practice with some questions. Is blood here oxygenated or deoxygenated? Deoxygenated. What valve will it go through next? Through the tricuspid valve. Where did blood just come from? Came from superior or inferior vena cava. What valve did it go through last? So blood here, it most recently came from the body in general. Okay? And blood from the body, it was taken to the body by the aorta, and blood in the aorta went through aortic valve. So the last valve that blood here went through was aortic valve. Let's see, where will blood go next?
Aortic valve.
Aortic valve. Is it deoxygenated or oxygenated? Oxygenated. What valve did it go through last? Went through the bicuspid valve because it came from left atria. What chamber will it go to next? What chamber? Right atria, right? Because it's going to go through the aortic valve, to the aorta, to the body, back from the body in the vena cavas, into the right atria. Okay. What are these? Capillary muscles. What are these? Coronary arteries. What's this? Look, it's okay. It's like brachiocephalic trunk. Do you know what this is? No, not the esophagus. It's the trachea. It's got rings on it. There's the trachea. Okay. let's see, where is my lung model?